A startup in Congo sold over 1 million solar panels in a country where almost 90% of the population don't have access to electricity. Another one in Nigeria rents out tractors by phone. Another startup in Uganda made motorcycle taxis trackable, safe and professional in a country where chaos rules the road. They are saving and improving lives and solving real problems for the masses. They're building the businesses nobody is talking about but the African continent deeply needs. Let me introduce you to 5 unique businesses that are solving problems for the masses. My name is Marvin, and 2 years ago I moved from Germany to Nairobi in Kenya, and ever since I've been exploring life, business and what really shapes the future of the African continent. It's not about hype, it's about solving real problems for real people, and that at a scale. Let me now introduce you to the first business that is changing the future of farmers in Nigeria right now. It's Hello Tractor. In Nigeria, 80% of farmers work their land by hand. But one company changed that by treating tractors like Ubers. The problem they're solving here is that most farmers on the African continent, in this case in Nigeria, they can't access or afford tractors. Therefore, it limits how much they can grow and also their earning potential. And the solution they created to solve this problem is quite incredible. You can simply now schedule and hire a tractor you need on demand. Just imagine like you calling an Uber right now because you have to go to a certain place. The farmers can do the same thing now just with tractors. This means this could boost their effectivity, their efficiency and their earning potential quite a lot. Also, the impact they have is very incredible. They already connected 1.4 million farmers to the tractors they needed, and this in over 17 African countries. I mean, this is a real solution that people need here on the ground because most farmers cannot afford to buy a whole tractor themselves, but it definitely can boost their efficiency when they can just hire one when they need it. And this also results in higher yields, more food production and higher incomes for the farmers, but also more food supply for the regions that is locally grown and less expensive than imported products. And the key takeaway for me here is that this is not new tech, this is simply a very smart use of it, and that this solution helps millions of farmers to produce more, to earn more, and again, it helps the masses across the whole continent. So this is a tech solution that helps millions of farmers but also the local economies and the local population on a huge scale. The next business I want to introduce here is m-kopa from Kenya, and they simply provide solar energy on payment plans. And the reason for that is that millions of homes in Kenya, especially in rural areas, did not have access to electricity until m-kopa provided solar panels on payment plans. The problem they're solving is quite obvious. Millions of people across East Africa and many other regions across the African continent still don't have access to electricity at all. And because they're not connected to the power grids, it only makes sense to give them access to solar panels, but in an affordable way. The solution they're providing is quite simple. Pay a 3,000 shilling deposit, what is around like $25. Then you pay for the next 360 days 50 shillings a day, what is more or less like 30 cents in US dollars. This makes it a bit more affordable because a lot of households here across the region, especially in rural areas, have maybe an income of around 170 shillings per day, so that they can afford it, and this is a cheaper alternative to what they have used before in terms of kerosene or anything else they used. They already connected 1 million households across Kenya to electricity. This means they enable people to study, to work, to live better, and just give them access to something that is seen on our side as completely normal. The key takeaway for me here is that even if the world is going digital, and even we see it here in Nairobi and the hubs of big African countries, there's still a lot of locations and areas where people don't even have access to the basic needs like electricity, what doesn't give them the chance to be part of the digital world in the first place. Therefore, solutions like this enables them to learn digitally, to maybe work digitally, and to just at least have access and fulfill their basic needs just to live beyond the sunsets. The next business that is also changing things for the masses is Safe Border from Uganda. And this one I want to talk about because I just came less than a week ago from Uganda, and I wanted to see again things after 4 years, how they work on the ground. And during my time there, I also use Safe Border on a daily basis. If you've ever taken a boda boda in Kampala, you know what chaos looks like. And safe border makes it trackable and therefore safer. The problem I found there on the streets of Kampala, even when I was talking to people, is that oftentimes border drivers, so the motorcycle taxi drivers, are not registered. It's very unsafe. They drive a bit like there are no rules on the roads. It can be on times very dangerous. And even the locals, everybody told me to call a border with safe border, because there the drivers are verified. They will be safer. They will take care a bit more of you than if you just take a regular border on the streets. The solution safe border provides is also nothing new. It's similar to the concept of Uber, but just in a localized way in Uganda. What they do is they train the drivers, they verify the drivers. They also make sure that they are sticking to the rules, otherwise they get penalized. So therefore they make it safer for you, that the driver is really paying attention and taking care of everything you need, that you arrive safely at your destination. And how they measure the impact is that they already had fewer accidents, they created thousands of jobs, people can ride borders and they can make a living for themselves, and already over 1 million rides have been done over safe border. My key takeaway here is something I saw already when I was in Uganda 4 years ago. There were so many border drivers, and what safe border did is simply utilize what is already on the ground, what has been working but with more or less problems, and just fix it, improve it, fix it, and make it accessible for everybody, and this in a localized version like safe border in this case. For the next business I want to introduce, we have to go back to Kenya, and the business is called Africa Collect Textiles. And the problem they're solving is one I observed already like quite a few times here in Kenya. I also saw it here and there on social media on the other side of the continent in Ghana or other countries, and they simply try to reduce the waste of second-hand clothing. And maybe you've seen some of the images in Ghana where the whole beach and the waters are flooded with textiles, with second-hand clothing that got imported from European countries, but there's also no use for them because oftentimes pieces are broken, they're unusable, so it doesn't make sense to ship them over there. And the same thing is in Kenya. And I think that Kenya is even number 2 for second-hand import of textiles in the entire African continent. And when I was reading more about this, it said that in Kenya, every single day, 150 tons of clothing gets dumped. And this is a huge amount if you just imagine of how much use these materials could be. And this is exactly what Africa Collect Textiles is solving. The way they do it is simply collect all the textiles that get dumped and they recycle it. So they produce new clothing out of it. They can produce different products out of it. And I saw this as well in one place here in Nairobi, and where they also recycle second-hand clothing or clothing you don't need anymore, and they make rugs out of it, they make carpets out of it, they make new clothing if you want to out of it. So they really are tackling an issue that is something very obvious once again. And the results so far are also amazing. They diverted tons of waste of textiles, they created hundreds of jobs, and they also building on a sustainable aspect. My key takeaway here is that even in trash sometimes lays a lot of money. People dump these clothes, people cannot make use of these things, but now they get a second chance and another lifetime to be used on a different purpose and just upcycled and recycled. One last thing for this one as well, I saw also that a lot of trash, it wasn't in Kenya, I think it was from different African countries, gets just collected and shipped over to China where they can do something out of the trash that is not used over here, like plastics, like paper, like just different things, and they recycle it and create an entire new product out of it. It can be construction material that also is happening in some African countries, but just on a smaller scale. So there's a lot of potential also in the waste industry. It can be to recycle textiles to new clothing. It can also be recycling of plastic bottles back into fuel, and there are many different opportunities that can be laying around in the sector of waste management and recycling. The next business here is Altec Group, and this one is in the DRC. In the Congo, almost 9 out of 10 people are living without electricity. So Altec sold over 1 million solar panels across 23 different regions across the DRC. The problem the Altec Group saw here is that the DRC has one of the lowest electrification rates in the entire world. Therefore, they tackled it on a different way. Instead of building out once again the whole infrastructure with the power grids, they simply go and sell solar panels, and this affordable. Also, through providing the solar solution, they reduce the usage of kerosene, the fire hazards danger is also lowered, and millions of people again get access to something that we see, or at least I see, as a completely basic need for every human. And they're really having a big impact. As I mentioned, they sold already over 1 million solar panels. They're also improving people's life and health through less usage of kerosene. Therefore, when they continue on their mission like they do already, they will have a huge impact on the entire country, and even expanding to different countries where the same problem occurs as in the DRC. My key takeaway here is that sometimes we have many challenges we face and there are many problems that need to be solved, but sometimes, as you can see in this example, there was no power grid, and instead of waiting for someone to fix this problem, Altec just went ahead and built the infrastructure for this themselves. So now, bringing all of these together, it shows once again what solutions are being thought at the moment. It's not about the biggest tech solution, the newest app, and even if some of these companies and businesses are solving problems with the help of tech, it doesn't mean that solely the next big business will be an app. As you saw in the example of the Hello Tractor, that's simply a solution that enables farmers first off to make more income by renting out their tractors, but also for farmers who don't have access to get access to tractors, produce higher yields, produce more products, and therefore they can also make a better living, and then again provide more food to the supply chain in their local populations. My learning from all of these incredible stories we just witnessed once again, and all these incredible companies that are solving unique and at least quite obvious problems when we look at what they do, is just to focus on the basics. If we focus on the basics, we see that people still don't have access to water, they still don't have access to electricity, farmers still have no access to tractors, that they still do a lot of manual work, and many more things. And therefore, focusing on the basic needs, on the basic things people are facing every single day, we can improve lives, we can also make income, we can make money, we can generate wealth from it as well, but we still have a big impact locally on the ground on many other people. And these businesses didn't go viral, they didn't raise billions of dollars to get their company set up and start operating, but they're building the African continent we want to see grow and develop. And this is the Africa we know is possible. One solar panel, one safe ride, one tractor, and one solar grid at a time. I hope you enjoyed this video and gave you a lot of value. I appreciate you, and let me know down below in the comments what other business you think I can cover and that could be interesting and that are solving a unique problem. And I see you in the next video.